I graded these positions. I graded them based off of the 4 guys not eligible. I went with a C minus.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
I think you and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Go ahead.
Well, we can't ignore it. It starts and it ends with Jimmori Robinson. It just does. What's his status? Because they brought him in specifically to lead a unit that they need. They need to be good. Now, do I like Eddie Kelly? Absolutely. Played all 13 games last season. He had 20 tackles in Missouri, and that's a tough conference. The SEC conference, arguably the best conference, right? Devin Grant, a guy that I really like, was a lower level Incarnate Word, 13 starts, 31 tackles. But
7.5 sacks as well.
right. How does that translate? Again, I feel like a broken record here, but I want to know, how does that translate to this level week in, week out, when you're going up against, Arizona State, you're going up against Iowa State, you're going up against Kansas State. How does that translate, right? Eddie V, I'm glad he's back. But how back is he, right? I mean, missed some time, obviously, last year. I'm hearing really good things about Nate Gabriel. Wrote about him on a Q&A. Some people I talked to in Morgantown say they're thrilled to see how he's progressed. Because there's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of questions. And so, yeah, C minus for me. Eddie Kelly, if you don't have Jimmori Robinson, I see Eddie Kelly. And then unfortunately, I don't see anybody that just jumps out at me that says, all right, ringer, all right, dependent, all right, week in, week out type guy. For me, I have a little bit of concern there, which is why I went with the C minus.
This is the one position group you and I are probably going to disagree about the most. And I think we did last year on this group, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be right.
I actually got this group with a B.
Okay.
And if Jimmori Robinson, with an asterisk, if he's playing, I got him as an A.
Now, see, I jumped from a C minus, believe it or not, I jumped from a C minus all the way up to a solid B if Jimmori Robinson's playing. I think he's that good.
Okay.
That good.
But here, see, you talked about the question marks, and there's question marks across the board, every position.
Sure.
But I think this is the position, on the defensive side anyway, that has the least amount of question marks, because I think Eddie V, I heard him on the Three Guys show the other day. He seems to really, really be taking to Rich Rod's style of coaching. It fits his personality, it kind of fits the culture of how he grew up in Finland. He seems very excited to play under Rich Rod. I think we could potentially, Neil Brown talked about how great Sonny Redwood could be. And unfortunately, he's had to deal with some injuries off and on, and we've never really been able to see him blossom. Maybe Rich Rod's coaching style and Zach Alley's defense, and maybe that brings the best out in him. I really like what potential he has. Hammond Russell's coming back. We saw good things out of him a year ago. He was getting a lot of snaps last year. They're returning more experience at that position group than arguably any position group on the team. With Russell, Vesterinen, Redwood, Corey McIntyre's played a few snaps. Not to mention, the guys that they brought in, like Devin Grant that we've talked about, Eddie Kelly, guys with experience. Eddie Kelly, like you mentioned, played in the SEC. So I actually like the defensive line. Now, here's the problem, though. Here's the reason why I bump him down to a B without Jimmori, and it's because of the pass rush. Mm-hmm. To me, if Jimmori Robinson's not able to play, you're going to have to get your pressure from somewhere else. You're probably going to have to get it from your bandit spot. You may have to get it from blitzing linebackers, disguise some corner and safety blitzes. Not saying any of these guys can't get to the quarterback, but I don't think any of them are going to do it as prolifically as Jimmori Robinson can.
Right.
So therefore, I think they're going to have to be. I think they'll still be solid and still be good, but I don't think they'll be great as a position group without Jimmori Robinson. But maybe they'll prove me wrong. But I got them from a B without Jimmori Robinson and an A with Jimmori Robinson. Either way it goes, I actually like this position group. I actually think they can be solid.
Yeah, and I think they can be too. I just when you talk about, I would understand Russell. He's a senior, has been around, has grown in the program, even though it's a little bit of a different program today. Um, but Eddie V, I mean, two games last year, was injured again. It,
That's fair.
that's where I get a little bit nervous.
How it
If
affect him mentally is the big thing.
Yeah, and if Robinson is out, right? Eddie V is going to get a lot of snaps anyway. But I mean, how good? How much can he go? Is he a little timid? Or I just I'd say the same. I said the same thing about Jalen Knight. Um, so it's no offense to Eddie V. Said the exact same thing about Knighton. It's when I start looking at production and I start looking at what they did for me last year, I held back a little bit because of injuries, because that question mark gets even bigger to me. Now, he could come out and be completely healed. There's no hesitation, and that's certainly the hope, right? But that's probably the main reason I held back just a little bit, because I'm looking at guys like an Eddie V that I'm really counting on that just missed pretty much the entire season last
And
year.
that's
So
fair. That's fair.
held me back just a little bit.
And there's no
Now,
that's
if
fair.
he's healthy, he is somebody. I mean, all of a sudden, the flip side of that is if you get a healthy Eddie V, Eddie Kelly, Hammond Russell, Jimmori Robinson is now, I think I'm back up to your A level if all things go well.
Okay.